And I can tell you about 3 naughty sisters that I have.
No.
But church records, as I say, are very, so remember, you go from your census will tell you which parish somebody was born in. And then it's a case of going to the parish registers. Or for example, obviously, if you have a child who was born from 1855 onwards, probability is the parents got married prior to that, so you look for the parents' marriage in the parish registers. And that's how you work that. Obviously, be aware of naming patterns. In Scotland, the first son being named after the paternal grandfather, second son the maternal, and the girls the other way around, of course. So look for naming patterns. Look for stuff like monumental inscriptions and headstones, obviously, because it's the same in the burial records. Their existence varies enormously across countries. Some bit, I mean, for example, if I look at the county of Nairn, there's only one parish that's actually got burial records. The other 3 parishes, including Nairn, don't. So one has to accept you're not necessarily going to get 100% information about an individual baptism, marriage, and death. You might find a baptism, marriage, but you're not necessarily going to find a death. That would come through other things like perhaps wills or, as I say, monumental inscriptions, gravestones. That might be where you're actually going to get your death. I mean, I certainly do have some families that don't crop up in the parish registers at all because they weren't in the Church of Scotland, and their particular church records, and because they were members of secession churches, they don't appear. For example, if I take Samuel Smiles' family, the Victorian author, none of his children have been in the parish registers because they weren't in the Church of Scotland. We actually, in that case, have to turn to the family Bible or a copy of the family Bible and say, that's when the children were born.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's an unfortunate part of ancestry, isn't it, Ken? Because there's some relatives that you're just not going to find because the records are not there.
Yes, I think you have to accept that there are certain, that with certain families, you're going to get so far with the church record, you can perhaps go on, as I say, to look at stuff like wills, land documents, or estate papers. There are things that you find, but and I would never say give up. But one has to be realistic that we cannot all trace our ancestors back to the Middle Ages.
Yeah.
You know, in Scotland, if you get them back to the 1600s or the 1700s, I would say, accept that as a good thing. Some families you're going to get back, and I've been doing this 40 years. There's some lines I'm not going to get further back. Some I am.
Yeah, I mean, I think as far as that I got was my dad's side, and it was back to 1739. And I think there's something quite special about those particular records because they're written, and it's that brown paper, and there's something very special about it being a parish record.
Well, it is. I mean, because you're dealing with documents. I mean, particularly, for example, if you get documents created about the 1740s or 1715, the Jacobite rebellions, which obviously, huge repercussion in Scotland. I've got Linlithgow in the 1715s. Well, Linlithgow Palace, of course, being damaged and so on at the time of the Jacobite rebellions, and then obviously. Or in my case, my grandmother's ancestors, when they were burning down the seminary at Scarla during the Jacobite rebellions, my Catholic ancestors. So, when you have the dates, think about what was going on at the time. If you're writing up your family history, and you know whether your relatives or what was going on in the environment at the time. Even if you go into the 19th century and you go into the 1820s, And then your Paisley, well, you're talking about the Paisley Weavers and the various riots or the various disturbances that are going on, or if it's the 1830s and people dying, well, are they dying of cholera? You know, the cholera epidemic. For example, Samuel Smiles' father dies of cholera in Addington in the 1830s. So looking at these records, they tell us, in many cases, they help us to give the environment which our ancestors were living. You know, they're bringing the family history alive. They're not, as you say, they're not just a page on us, necessarily a page on the screen. I thought it's very nice to see the original. It is very nice to see the original records, and I would certainly, obviously, say that if at all possible, do look at the original record rather than necessarily a transcription. As certainly, do not assume that the indexes are necessarily 100% correct, particularly on the commercial sites, because they're only as good as the person who transcribed them in the first place.
Yeah, definitely.
No, you know, do look at them, and that's why I always say, look at all the other entries on the same page. See if you can't understand the writing. Well, what else? As it is. Another thing with marriage is you might see the word cautioner. Cautioner was the person who paid the fee just to make sure that if they didn't get married, the minister would still get some money. The congregation would still see. You'll sometimes see, and sometimes you'll see it says John Smith, cautioner for his daughter. Mm-hmm. And that way you actually sometimes. So it might not directly say who the father is, but it might say, so quite often you will see cautioner. I haven't seen too many cases where it said that the cautioner had to pay the fee because the couple started. Mm-hmm. I will say in places like Lincolnshire and Gretna, you will see English couples coming over the border, because of course in Scotland, what we call a regular marriage, i.e., not going before the minister, was not exactly unusual, and then you got ticked off by the session. But in Scotland, as long as you were, well, up to 1929, you were 14 if you're a boy and 12 if you're a girl. You could get married legally. Really? Up to 1929, 12-year-old girls could get married, and 14-year-old boys. It was legal. Changed in 1929 to be 16. But the one important thing with Scotland is you've never had to have parental permission. In England, you had to have parental permission if you were under 21. In Scotland, you as long as you had two witnesses, and of course the blacksmith at Gretna, he is not acting apart from the minister. He's one of the witnesses. And there's another witness. He would go and get some yokel to come in, and that's why you get all these marriages at Gretna or Lambert and It's all these English folks scampering up north. And then we started putting in saying that you had to have lived in Scotland for 25 days or have a resident, so to stop all these English people. But that's why Gretna got big hotels, you see.
Oh, well, you know what? History sometimes helps, doesn't it?
It is, but...
Hospitality centre.
Yeah, but yeah, so I mean, somebody at work was a bit worried the other day when she thought she had an old man who married a 12-year-old, and I said it was very unlikely, and she did confirm that was not the case. Mm-hmm. There would have been very few marriages. I can assure the listeners that I have never come across a 12-year-old. I've come across 16-year-olds, mm-hmm. maybe 15 or 16-year-olds, mm-hmm. but certainly never come up under 12, 13, 14. Never.
That's quite weird because it's obviously a different time in history, Ken, but still there's that.
Oh, I know. Yes, I mean, it really dates back to Roman law, because the Scots used Roman law, and Roman law was that those were the ages that you could get married, and we didn't change it to 1929. Mm-hmm. But so They are important, our church records. These are what we use. Once we've done the statutory records, we've got the census. And then obviously what we would talk about perhaps next time is stuff like wills and testaments.
That sounds good. So this has been our first recorded and recorded Zoom Scottish Ancestral Records podcast. So there we go.
Okay.
So we'll see people next time, won't we?
Yeah. Okay. So just let me know when you want to do it next time.
No problem. Thank you very, very much to everybody for joining us. And I hope that episode on Parish Records was very helpful. Thank you, Ken, as usual.
Okay, no problem.
Thank you.
Cheers for now.